Hi, welcome back to the Dylan Rounds case. Welcome if you're currently here in the live chat. I appreciate it. With it being New Year's Eve at the time, I won't be chatting in the chat because I'm busy doing other stuff. Things are going on, okay? But I still wanted to cover this video. So for anyone else out there that could watch this video but also chat with others in between, it might help in some way or another. And as well, it was important to make this video because the relevancy of it, the timing, because it's only just recently happened, okay? I only found out last night and I can explain it right now. So basically today what we're looking at is a Dylan Rounds article. Coincidence, considering we looked at an article yesterday, which was a year in review of 2022 Elko County, looking at it holistically. Some very interesting crimes, some similar patterns, crossovers, levels of behaviour, the lot. Ty Corbin was present, which was good of him. He was able to clear up some things here and there, as well as add additional points and information in, which was useful. Still in the process with other map analysis videos later, okay? But yeah, if Ty's here tonight, that's good. If not, Happy New Year to Ty and Phyllis and anyone else that's present or wherever they are. Okay, so we'll say this now. Happy early New Year's Eve. Obviously, there is a time zone difference. So for some, it's already happened. For others, it's on the way. And then others are behind, okay? So yeah, we're doing the video today. It's another article supposedly never seen before, as described by Doug from No Thanks. Something Box Elder County didn't expect people to come across. I guess it's a local newspaper, a newspaper, maybe it's an online only one, whatever. Got some screenshots to share with you. Image quality is blurry. You might find it difficult to read, so I'll read it out and try to analyze it as we go along, see if there's any, interesting information or not. I have heard that it's, negatives of Box Elder County, not directly saying that they're bad, but how they've worded it. Okay, so that's why we're going to take a look and, double check. Credit to, first of all, one of the individuals, viewers that let me know last night. Can't remember what their name was, but they had a grey profile picture and they basically just brought up, I think it was Wheezy, W-E-E-Z-Y, I think, credit to them. And they basically said that No Thanks is doing an update. And, I checked this morning, had a look, made some few little notes, and then the rest we can just look at the photos and give my own opinion on it, okay? So credit to Doug, No Thanks, his channel, as he's one of the first individuals to cover this on his, okay, and get a hold of the photos. No one else has covered it yet, but maybe it might follow in time. I guess we'll see, okay? And also, last but not least, before we head on in, shout out and credit to an individual. I won't mention their name, I guess, like privacy, out of respect for their privacy, because I don't know if they want their like username or whatever mentioned or not, so I won't. It begun with a letter A. It wasn't Andrew Culver. I mean, just kidding, no, it wasn't him. But credit to that individual that externally gave kind of like a super chat, super thanks, but on PayPal, okay? So it was good of them to do that, wasn't expecting it, so I appreciate it. And the other big positive is it worked. No technical issues or anything going dodgy. It worked. It was smooth. It was practical, more practical on there, But yeah, there you go. And I can just like briefly explain it now instead of like drip feeding, if you want to call it that. Basically, depending on how you look at it, no, I'm not a prostitute, not yet. But basically PayPal, you got Cash App. I do not like Cash App. That sounds really desperate. I don't know why the name of it sounds like what you'd link with OnlyFans and some other bits and bobs. No. It's PayPal, but there's like a donate button. I don't even like the word donate either. Why couldn't they, like YouTube, how they call it super chat, super thanks? It sounds more supportive rather than in a negative way, how people would associate the words. So I guess we could call it Super Whip, Whip Coin, because there's another one there like where people get free coffees, but not literally free coffees, but maybe the price of a coffee and the money exchange. I don't know. I don't really know how it works because I don't really get into it much. But basically, in short, if people, for whatever reason, had issues giving a super chat or a super thanks or maybe even membership and it wasn't working, like some dodgy transaction, details not working, YouTube lagging, quite a few people have already experienced that problem, then PayPal is an alternative practical option if you wish to. That's the key line, if you wish to. If not, perfectly fine, let's move on, okay? And for the other people that might want to do dodgy donations, sounds really clever that, doesn't it? In an anonymous way, PayPal is like that. It's anonymous. No one else can see it. This sounds like really dodgy, shady stuff, doesn't it? I'm definitely like describing it in a positive way, but yeah, why not? Just be light-hearted about it, because some people are so snappy and sharp. Link here, link there, click this, click that. Gets too overwhelming at times, right? So we don't do that here. And also, just one more thing, once again, it's good, and I say it's a positive, that although, okay, you don't have a call in here, you don't have an interview there on like this channel, you've got the live chat, which is text-based, not verbal. And the positive behind that, you can report comments if you wish to, whereas you can't report someone joining in on a panel talking verbally. There's nothing to really report. There's no report button, right? Except the video, and then that screws all the other people over who's on it. So text-based is better, and you can't be overspoken or interrupted. You can type whatever you want. You're not having to rush. You can think before you type. You can go over it, analyze it, whatever. So there's no rush. It's more relaxed. Does that make sense to you? Okay. As for any links I described earlier, whether it be the dodgy PayPal thing, whether it be specifically Doug from No Thanks, if you want to check out his video, as he was the original to first cover it, all the links will be down below in the comment section pinned, okay? As for Gorilla Jack, Weedleby, anybody else, maybe Andrew Culver, if dodgy things are going on, not dodgy things, if more serious negative stuff's going on in the background or whatever, feel free to use this video as a distraction. Well, it might not be as funny as the other ones, but I guess what I can do as well is provide the playlist down below in the comment section, pinned with some of the other funny edited videos. As for Weedleby's video, I've not watched it yet, but I did see the title of it and it does look interesting. I'll eventually get round to watching it and it should be good, because this is the other thing. Whilst you might get an individual like yourself, you do all the videos, you upload all the stuff, okay? That can be fun in itself, and then obviously watching it back and seeing the feedback too. But when other people start getting involved on a case, in a way, it can either lighten the load off your own stuff, or it can complement it and help in some way, back and forth, bounce off from one another. And if not that, when it comes to the funny edits, when other people start getting involved, that's where it does get more fun. So you got the likes of Weedleby doing her edits, you got the likes of Betty Hayward doing her external edits, I guess on Jim Terry's videos and stuff. So that's good, right? Obviously you got cases, mysteries, true crime, it's all serious, but at times there's no harm in a bit of light-heartedness, providing it's kind of separated or split down the middle from the serious, real stuff. Does that make sense to you? Kind of like my videos, right? Portion of it, about 30 minutes to an hour or longer on Dylan, the first part at the start, most important stuff, then followed, split down the middle by the more light-hearted stuff, so you can tell the change in direction. It's not back and forth in between throughout as such, right? Because, you know, there's a time where you've got to be serious and then a time where you can mess around. And I think just as a brief observation, when it comes to No Thanks, obviously some people have negative thoughts towards him. When it comes to the interviews, I think they're done fairly well. the flow of the conversation. Doug does well in the way the questions are structured. But when there's no interview and it's just simply him on the panel with Crime and Justice talking, the flow is lacking. It's very fragmented. There's a level of seriousness, pissed offness, if that's a word, and then like joking around, and he mashes it up too much, back, forth, like that. It's not like talk all the way through about a specific thing, focus on, lock on, and then start criticising or complaining or joking around. No, it's all intertwined, and when it's all intertwined, it gets very mixed up, right? You're trying to follow along what the topic of the video is about, but then there's all these like other little jokes, hidden jokes, under jokes, reference points, code words, secret digs at people. You know, it's like, whoa, just stick to one thing at a time, right? Okay, and that's what we're going to try and do right now, right? So all that other previous stuff out the way. I said, if you're here right now, welcome. We're going to get into it, and I will share some photos too. Got some bullet points which I'll read off first of all with some quotes from the article, and then transition on to the actual photos to read through it properly, okay? So to begin with, this article which Doug got a hold of, it's from Box Elder County, right? The one what we did yesterday, if you haven't watched it, I'll provide a link down below in the pinned comment section too. That was of Elko County. Elko County is different to Box Elder County. You got the Elko County Police Department and then the Box Elder County Police, right? Two different ones. In the eyes of Candice Cooley, she preferred Elko County Police over Box Elder County Police. In the eyes of Ty Corbin, both Elko and Box Elder Police are both good and not corrupt, okay? So that will, help explain it to you. In the eyes of Doug, from No Thanks, similar to Candice Cooley, that Doug thinks Box Elder are very dodgy and corrupt, and that Elko are, I guess, okay, because he doesn't really slate them as much, okay? That's just the first point reference. Next one. There is no direct names, but obviously the way it's worded and, the language, who it's being aimed at. So basically Doug was calling out Jim Terry, the PI, that's what he referred him to in the video, and Ty, mentioned Ty Corbin, saying that both Jim and Ty Corbin are bad people. That's what Doug said. Also, going as far as Doug saying Ty is just as bad like Kurt Wadsworth. So maybe to Ty that could be quite insulting. It's not a surprise that Doug is like this, and that's his viewpoint, with stuff going on in between and other key things too. If you're saying Ty Corbin is as bad as Kurt Wadsworth, then I guess what you got to understand, Ty Corbin, from what I can remember and what I've seen, correct me if I'm wrong, that Ty does not like Kurt Wadsworth, because Kurt Wadsworth is kind of like cowering away, not trying to help because you could be involved in some way or another. So obviously Ty wouldn't like Kurt. So Ty can't be as bad as Kurt if Ty doesn't like Kurt. You know what I'm saying in that sense. But I guess the origin, and we'll go into it briefly now. A little bit hypocritical of Doug in a sense, because Doug is now calling out Jim Terry full on, as well as Ty, but Doug at the start did give Ty Corbin the GoPro, right? And Doug also allowed Jim Terry on for a call-in. I don't know on how many occasions, but it happened. And when I briefly looked back at a video with that going on back then, visually, their faces, their body language, kind of relaxed, calm, not tense, being respectful, listening in, not really complaining, like, yeah, come on, yeah, whatever. Then you got some of the other background stuff, which people, I'm not saying because I've not seen, but other people supposedly have seen, where Doug either criticised Candice Cooley at one point or criticised Dylan in some way before coming across Candice and then all the interviews taking place on the show. And it's like, well, does Candice Cooley know? Did Candice Cooley forgive? What's the deal with that? But the transition overall, before Doug came in contact with Candice Cooley, Doug listened and welcomed Jim Terry and Ty Corbin. But then once Doug got on side in favour with Candice Cooley, because Candice Cooley didn't like Jim Terry or Ty Corbin or Lance, now all of a sudden you got the likes of Doug not liking Jim Terry, Ty, Lance. You see the pattern? So what I will say now, and I might have done it before, but we'll do it once again as a poll. Do you think Doug from No Thanks, his behaviour and attitude has changed in an unnatural way due to the influence and presence of Candice Cooley? What do you think? In a way, I can understand why you would start thinking, acting the same way as someone else if it means you benefit too, or if it means you get on side in favour of Candice Cooley, I guess. I mean, very random example, but like how some manipulative people word it. Oh, you should be friends with the quiet kid in high school. So then if you're friends with them, then when the day comes, they'll say, don't come to school the next day. And then your life is saved and not shot. You know, that type of manipulative, opportunistic behaviour, kind of like Kurt Wadsworth, right? When reaching out. So, yeah, that's just a second point. Now, the third one, this is a quote from the article saying, no charges filed yet in association with Dylan. Makes sense. There is more of that in terms of picture format. We will get into deeper shortly. I just wanted to just reel these off quickly, okay? Also giving some dates as well. I don't know how clear it is visually, okay? So I'll just read it out here. In addition to no charges filed yet to Dylan was last seen on the 25th and also then on the 28th at Montello, 2022. Bit weird that, we'll get into that shortly. What else is there? Another quote here, no current information to release. That's kind of like, whatever. We'll look into that as well. PI, all right, this is where we get on to just some other additional points later by No Thanks, okay? So Doug was referring to the PI, I assume Jim Terry, right? You've got these like little key code names for people, I guess, without, you know, mentioning their names because then they'll benefit down the line. But, you know, you had Doug calling out Jim Terry, the PI, for messing up the Aidan Clune case. When I heard that, I was like, what? Because, you know, I have just briefly looked at Aidan Clune. I've not really seen Jim Terry, watched videos of him covering the case. I don't even know if he participated or got involved, contacted the family. I don't know. Do any of you know? Do any of you agree that Jim Terry messed up the Aidan Clune case? Or is it just Doug once again making up stuff? Leave your thoughts, okay? I don't know personally because I've not looked into that part. Another point, what Doug said was like how the LE box elder and people online are victimising the family. Okay, you can leave your thoughts to what you think about that. And what else? Yeah, and this was your thing, and I think this was like the general theme and tone of the video by Doug. So as he said, he was annoyed, he was pissed off and stuff because of overall case and this article, which I guess was another trigger point. And Doug was saying how he's found stuff on the LE Box Elder County Sheriff's Office. He's found stuff on them, even on some of the key individuals, lots of stuff. Obviously, from the tone and how it was worded, negative things. So maybe corruption, maybe mistakes made in the past, getting into trouble, maybe things being silenced, kept secret, you know, stuff like that. Is it completely true? Don't know, because I've not seen it. Will it come out? Maybe. The way Doug was wording it was, you know, if there's not going to be any more movement or no one's going to do anything else, then I will release it. So, you know, is it going to put Doug in trouble, in danger? I don't know. Maybe not. You can see patterns of behaviour in a way, isn't it? When dealing with the presence of police, right? Candice Cooley did it originally because of how things were going. Then she finally released stuff the police didn't want her to release, but after the disaster of how it went, the case, that's why she did it. But now what you're seeing with Doug, who's on the outside, but almost acting similar to Candice Cooley, which is interesting. Doug is now, I don't even use the word threatening, suggesting that this stuff will be revealed, what I found on you, if you don't do this or do that. So it's kind of like following in the same footsteps of Candice Cooley. It was a bit weird. Would you agree? Is there any kind of brainwashing going on in the Dylan Rounds case, like with certain groups you may associate with, certain channels or certain panels or certain groups, whatever it may be, clans, factions, allegiances, you know, what, you get brainwashed, you change in behaviour and how you act and how you think and what you say and what you cover and what you do, maybe. Could be a possibility. Let me know your thoughts down below if you've seen it with anyone else. Let me know in the comment section if you've seen any changes, strange, unnatural changes in behaviour by people out there who've gotten involved in the Dylan Rounds case, physically, boots on ground searches, or just simply online. Has anyone changed in your mind? Leave it down below. When I covered the Kenny Veach case, there were a lot of changes and strange stuff going on within humans, abrupt changes, bitchy behaviour, getting too emotional, demanding this, demanding that, sudden changes and going missing, disappearing, things being removed, hidden, all kinds of stuff. So it doesn't surprise me, I'm used to it, okay? So with that out the way, let's get deeper into the photos and read the rest of the article and see what shows up, okay? Okay, so here's the first image titled Dylan Rounds. On the right, you got a little profile of Dylan photo, seen it several times before. Down below in bold, it's quoted 2022 on page 11. As you can see, it doesn't give the author's name or who it's directly associated with. If this is by Box Elder County Papers, let's say, or just by Box Elder, you can clearly see then they're not associating it directly with the sheriff's department or the police department, you know. You get an idea where it's coming from, but they're not directly listing it or quoting it, but that's probably because they want to lay low, right? It just needs to be covered, but they don't want to direct too much heat towards themselves. And it might become more apparent later on in these photos, we'll see. But first of all, as said, it says, no arrests have yet been made or charges filed related to the disappearance of 19-year-old Dylan Rounds from his family's farm in Lucin, Box Elder County. That is true, right? You know, you look at it on the surface, it's true. No one's really been charged directly. Externally, people have been charged, but that was like gun-related crimes, not to do with Dylan, okay? Brenner is being treated as the main suspect, but still no official direct charges. So I understand that, but Doug, when he was looking at it, I don't think he saw it the same way. He was viewing it as, you've already got the main guy. We already know it's him. There's no other way around it. You should already be charging him already. Like, why are you working around it? Why are you not going in on it? You know, not being proactive. So with that, yeah, I can understand that point of view, but how it's worded here is how it is in real life. No one's been directly charged, right? Is there any other additional side points? I mean, it's not listed the mistakes made or the lack of urgency, such as with the arrest of Brenner, right, in 2021, which should have happened but was delayed into 2022, partially because of the virus, okay? But maybe that was just used as an excuse, I guess. But let's continue reading. This is the main interesting part. Dylan Rounds was last seen on the farm on May 25th and contacted his family via phone on May 28th and was seen in Montello, Nevada on the same day. That is like, what? That makes no sense at all. Like, what's going on here? These dates are so all over the place. And I can explain it to you, but what I will also say, just in case as an alternative, because as we know, people have lied, switching and changing of information, you can never be too certain. You know, there's always a time of like being alert and cautious, right? Because you never know. But let's just read it through and analyse, okay? The bit where it says, was last seen on the farm on May 25th. Have we ever heard that date used before in the past, like with all the posters in the past? Yes, because back then, when we were looking at the posters, some said the 25th, some said the 26th, 27th, 28th, when he was last visually seen. But before we came across this article, the consensus was that on the 26th/27th, when Dylan was staying there in Montello, that's when he was last visually seen. The 28th at his farm was when he was last heard from. Auditory contact, phone call made to the grandmother, Karen Rounds. Okay? As for the 25th, which is stated here and has been on previous posters in the past, that's more to do with in relation to the day when Dylan picked up Chase Venstra, who was down Tacoma Road near Gravel Path, wanting to be picked up, and that was on the 25th. Now, previously, in a poster, it was worded as Dylan was last seen on the Nevada, Utah, Montello, Lucin border, okay, edging between the two borders, and that was on the 25th. Maybe it was a passerby, maybe it was a local, saw Dylan's car drive past, going into one border from the other on the day of indirectly, unexpectedly meeting Chase Venstra. Okay, does that make sense to you? On here, it seems as if they've got it all tangled up. They've associated one date with a different event which happened on a different date. Okay, now Dylan might have been at the farm a day or two before that, maybe, right, to get a hold of the truck in the first place. But, you know, from the consensus and what we've heard of most of the time, 25th, Chase Venstra picked up, 26th, gone down to Montello to stay there, following into the 27th, coming back to the farm later on that day, doing his farm work later on at night, 28th, phone call made in the early hours of the morning, I think it was 6:51 a.m. And then after that, that's when the stuff went down, Dylan got hurt, and so on, okay? So it's as if, whether it be Box Elder County directly writing this up, Box Elder, newspapers, whoever, they've got it wrong. It seems as if they have made a mistake. And it wouldn't be a surprise because they have made mistakes beforehand. And even at this rate, even at this time, they still can't get it right from the looks of it. Now, as an alternative point, if it is worded correctly here, then my alternative question would be, then why were the dates so firmly put in place and reinforced all the other times beforehand on different days then? Like, why would it be a lie for so long? That's what I wouldn't understand. I know the common talk is, well, police have got to follow procedures, you know, can't release everything, can't say everything. But when it comes to a simple, basic date, time, and that's about it, you know, at least that can be given out. Look at the Idaho 4 case, how that was covered. Just as serious, if not more, because more people were involved and harmed. Timelines, key dates, CCTV, greater effort put in, try and reinforce the dates and the timing, more precision, more accuracy. So they could do it then. So why can't Box Elder County, right? And that's why I always refer to the idea of, do you know of any other previous events in which Box Elder County messed up? Is there any other families out there that tried contacting Box Elder County and they messed them around? It's okay. It's bad. It happened to Candice Cooley, Justin Rounds, but has it happened to anyone else? It's okay spreading awareness for the future, but what about the past? What about the people back then? Anything happened to them, or is this a first time only? Is it a one-off? Leave your thoughts down below. We'll just do like a mini poll right now, I guess. The poll can be, do you think that Box Elder County have messed other families around before, or is it just a one-off, first time? Leave your thoughts. Anything else? It says, Lucin's proximity to Idaho. Rounds' family lives in Idaho, and Nevada resulted in multiple law enforcement agencies and volunteers from all 3 states participating in a search for Rounds. Box Elder County Sheriff's Office, Box Elder, I guess, Police, Elko County, Weber County, maybe? You get the idea. But this is the thing. It doesn't say the level, the amount. They just say participating, very vague term. And that's what Doug highlighted. Doug saying, yeah, but Box Elder County Sheriff's Office didn't search for Dylan. Well, technically they did, or maybe to an extent they did, but not as great, not a great amount compared to maybe some of the other agencies and police departments that got involved. Okay. Obviously, once again, vague, not highlighting the downfalls, the negatives, the lack of resources, or lying about stuff, or not having the equipped people or the equipment at the time with the people. It's not mentioning any of that. But would you really expect it to when it's about them themselves, or them, they are in the area, as this paper's? No. Maybe if you had a newspaper company, some news report or something outside of the city, the town, the county, the district, the state border, whatever, then maybe they might tell more of the truth, right? Because they haven't got as much to lose. There's not as many punishments or consequences. But here, no, they're just trying to keep it neutral and balanced, right? Keep a good image up and try and maintain some form of order. But not exactly working out, because some people seem to be getting triggered by it from the looks of it. Next image. So I guess this is page 12 from the looks of it. I think it continues on. So it's saying, with the Utah State Department of Public Safety, Weber County Sheriff's Office, Weber County Attorney's Office reviewed the work done and established credibility in the Box Elder County Sheriff's Office investigation with substantial and pertinent evidence. Now, we did look at this in the past, right? We actually did. So it's kind of like quoting it in a sense. Was it like some kind of internal review of Box Elder County Sheriff's Office during the time of all the controversy and all the tension? And it was just written off as no issues here, nothing to see. And it's like, can't you not see what they've done? Allowing this, allowing that, not being as proactive as what other cases have been like in other departments. And it's like, why are people covering for them? There'll be obvious reasons to why, and people in the chat can share their own thoughts too. I know not everyone will agree, so you can share your thoughts in the comment section as well. In defense, for, whatever, against, okay? And we'll see what people have to say. But yeah, it's just re-quoting what we've seen previous, I guess. It says, currently, there is no new information about the case law enforcement is willing to release, saying they do not want to compromise the investigation or potentially prosecution of the case. Now, it's okay saying that, but I guess it's a bit hypocritical how they don't want to do this, they don't want to do that because it could ruin the case, but they're okay delaying the boots going to the lab when it's vital evidence. It's okay allowing one of the main suspects to do the spring cleaning on June the 2nd and take out potential evidence in bags and go off wherever to dispose of them. It's okay allowing Brenner to get into the grain truck, which was probably the last vehicle driven by Dylan, which is another critical part of evidence. It's also okay for Box Elder allowing whoever family members to drive vehicles back, return them back, have a thumbs up. It's okay for Box Elder County to wish the family good luck when it comes to a potential important lead, regardless of the outcome. You see what I'm saying? It's kind of like pick and choose what and what not. So Box Elder County don't want to do this, don't want to do that, because it could harm the case, but they'll allow this and allow that, which can harm the case and has harmed it, or at least delayed it, pushed it back, prevented a successful outcome early on. You see? So you could say it's kind of like hiding the truth. I'd say it's more just double standards, or it's like more one-sidedness, only covering the positives, trying to cover, what do you call it, their procedure. Like, oh, we have high standards and we will follow things through accordingly, but it's not mentioning the mess-ups, which would even it out more and, show a different side. But as said just earlier, it's not really too much of a surprise considering how it's gone overall. And you've got to take in mind that in the last month or two, as described by Candice Cooley, Box Elder County Sheriff's Office going quiet compared to previous times. So I guess an article like this, they wouldn't want to start any more fires. But the way it's been worded, I think it could cause a bit of pushback. And just imagine how Candice Cooley would, respond to this. Yeah. Let's move on to the next page. Here is the final page, I believe, or at least the last one Doug showed in his video. It's kind of all over the place, right? It might be a bit hard to read, but I will try to read it for you. Okay, hopefully nothing like spazzes out. This is a bit difficult. My God. I guess you could call it more of an eye test. Let's see. Search and rescue, Weber County Sheriff's Office. Search and rescue, Elko County Sheriff's Office. The Utah Department of Public Safety and Utah search dogs were all volunteered, used in the search. The case was, on the contrary, from the beginning, the family of the missing teen dismembered, details about the case on social media, such as the discovery of Dylan Round's boots behind the farm. The family suspected foul play at the beginning, whilst Box Elder Sheriff's Office confirmed that Dylan's boots was missing and was not believed to have The family, Dylan's mother, publicly the work of the sheriff's department, saying they hadn't followed up on the leads evidence. The family hired a private investigator to look into Dylan's disappearance, known as Jim Terry. The family appeared to be running its own investigation. Right. So, first of all, it was describing on the left-hand column all the different people involved, the different police departments, the sheriff office, search and rescue, all of them. All the ones what you could think of, okay? That's all been listed, and for most part of it probably checks out too, but not including the negatives of what Box Elder did. Though the midsection column is talking more and aiming it more about the family. Candice Cooley, the mother, I guess accusing, how it's worded here, accusing Box Elder County Sheriff's Office of not following up on leads, such as the boots, the whole DNA testing, and some other stuff, Bren as well, the arrest, delaying that. So the theme of this, if it was written by Box Elder County Sheriff's Office or someone close to it, they've put a spin on it. Instead of them owning up and acknowledging where they've gone wrong, the twist and spin what they put on is that the family, specifically the mother who has attitude issues, technically speaking, in the theme of this, is accusing us, Box Elder County, of doing this and that. So it's kind of making her look less credible, making her look like the crazy woman out of control. You get what I'm saying? That's like how it's been, worded here. What else does it say? On the far right column, it says, viewing and hearing a person of interest of any something in the case. Evidently, the Rounds family's complaints about the sheriff's department took up some locals at times, and social media post sharing the disappearance and the search. Complaints by the Rounds family that the sheriff's department lacked the dedication and lack of professional skills to warrant an effective search and investigation, prompting a response from the department. They founded their work. So it's still going on, wording, portraying Candice Cooley as a whiner, someone constantly complaining, as if she's in the wrong. That's how Box Elder County or Box Elder newspapers are wording it. They're not blaming the police here. Anything else? It says the Box Elder County Sheriff's Office is masking continual efforts to locate Dylan Rounds and to investigate the circumstances surrounding his disappearance. Continued efforts, are they? If this article is new and up to date, well, that seems to be wrong and incorrect, because from how it's been worded, and there's not been any talk about them, Candice Cooley hasn't complained about them since, because they've been quiet, they've backed off, they've not been of much help, but they've not caused any more trouble. That says a lot. And yet here they're saying that Box Elder County Sheriff's Office are still working at it. But where are they? Where? Unless it's all behind the scenes. Now, the bit where Candice Cooley has said recently on the Facebook post about things moving forwards, all kinds of stuff going on, although it's vague, it's positive how it was worded by Candice Cooley. But do you think any of that has got to do with Box Elder County Sheriff's Office working on it as well in the background? And they're kind of working together now. Do you think that's a possibility? The reason why I say that is, whilst Candice Cooley has criticised constantly Box Elder County Sheriff's Department, and it's even worded here and kind of twisted in a sense, at the beginning, Candice Cooley did cooperate with the police from the looks of it. And then at a certain point, she criticised them, and then she welcomed them back and then pushed away the general public from searching because she decided to switch sides. Because supposedly progression was being made by the police then. Then no progression was made, dead end wall. Then she started criticising the police again, LE, Box Elder County Sheriff's Department, and then siding with the general public, or some of them at least. You see, back, forth, is Candice Cooley now cooperating with the police once again, LE, or is she still complaining? I don't know. Makes you think, right? Did we miss anything out? Okay. It says, whether intended or not, the statement also addressed the Rounds family's social media post about developments in the case. In quotes, this is an active law enforcement missing person criminal investigation. Something updates that do not have the potential to compromise the investigation will be released. The statement is issued June the 22nd. Also noted that since its beginning in May, Buck's elder detectives alone had spent 650 hours on the case. 650 hours, probably a fair bit, but I mean, in a odd, indirect, outside of the box way of thinking, what about the YouTubers that have covered the case or tried to make sense of it, or at least tried to keep it alive? I think that's more than 650 hours, I think. I mean, let's put this in perspective. I mean, I guess I can look at the stats somewhere later, or I can tell you in the live chat or the comment section at a later point. Oh, it'll have to be the comment section. I'm just thinking of watch hours. You know, maybe, how long have I been doing it for? 4 months, nearly every single day, nearly an hour every single day. Ooh, I don't know how long that would be. Over 10,000, 20,000. It might have been over 40. I might be wrong here, but I'm sure I saw a number saying I've covered over 40,000 worth of hours on the Dylan Rounds case. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. But as for these little stats, we don't see enough of them. The previous article, what we looked at yesterday, the Elko County one of the crimes, and it talks about the Aden Clune one, how so much distance was covered by this, so much by that, so much by horseback, etc. But not gone into the same depth detail with Dylan Rounds, interestingly. But here it does say 650 hours. So, and that's by the detectives. Yeah? The beginning. Okay. Is that it? It says, in July, officials confirmed that the primary suspect in Dylan Round's disappearance was James Brenner, who was being held in Weber County Jail on, what, unofficial federal weapons? Is there anything else on the right? No. That's all that seems to be. Because Doug only showed this image and not the ones on the right-hand side. So the key takeaway points from that article, providing it's a very recent article, okay, I couldn't quite see the date, always take that in mind. Doug's wording it as, this has been recent, no one else has found it yet, not even Candice Cooley, so maybe. If you yourself can get a hold of it and check the date, feel free to list it down below, because that could help reinforce certain points. But all I'll say from that article and what you can infer from, the 3 key points are the dates, regardless really, whether it's right now or maybe a few months ago, the dates have been completely mismatched, mangled and tangled up, confusing, right? At this point in the case, there should be some kind of consistency, right, of dates when things happened and when things didn't, right? You got to take in mind that general public can be criticised by other humans or higher ups for making mistakes, causing misinformation or stuff like that. And then you've got an official group, authority, who are making the same mistakes, if not more serious ones. Not exactly hopeful, is it, when you look up to people and they don't really do any better? They may do worse. So yes, you got the entangled dates around Dylan and when he was last seen. Not helpful, okay? The midpoint of a problem is missing out all the negatives by Box Elder County Sheriff's Office and keeping it as neutral as possible, and making them appear very formal, following procedures and upright, and, you know, making no mistakes at all. And then the third key takeaway point is the overall theme tone, where it's basically throwing it all back at Candice Cooley. So if Box Elder County did make mistakes, did things wrong, weren't proactive, made up excuses, delayed stuff, they basically didn't acknowledge any of that in the paper. They just simply spun it round and said Candice Cooley is accusing us and criticising us of this and that and doing this and doing that. But rest assured, we are still continuing our efforts. That's like how it's been worded. Now, there'll be people that will agree with that article and say, there's nothing wrong with it. It's worded how it's worded. It's the mother that's got the issue. But then there'll be other people, maybe more, maybe less, I don't know, that will say, oh, no, Boxtel County, look how they've worded it. It's very biased and whatnot. Leave your thoughts down below to what you think. Do you agree with the article or disagree with it? Are there any other mistakes made? Anything missing out of it? Leave your points down below. I don't know who's in the live chat tonight because people may be busy, but even when you catch up on this video the day later or the day after that, share your thoughts. I know the video quality visually of the newspapers articles weren't exactly clear, but it's hard to get a hold of clear shots, right, of that. So I just read it with the best of my eyesight, okay? And all I'll say is, from the way Doug worded it, Candice Cooley supposedly doesn't know about this. So the article is new and Candice Cooley does see it. I don't think it's going to go down well. I think it's going to piss her off even more than ever. That's the way I see it. And, if that's the case, what will she do next? Will it push her? Will it drive her on? It could. Depending what's going on right now, whether she started cooperating back with the police secretly. If that was the case, if she sees this article, it could break down the relations and communications once again, right? Just like how we've seen the pattern before in the past where it was side with the police, cooperate, detach, get angry, criticize, then pull yourself back in, listen to them, look up to them, then detach, get angry, complain, and then what? Go back again? And then does this article push her away from the police once again? Kind of like that pattern. I don't know. I don't know what Ty Corbin thinks of the article. I don't know what Lance thinks of the article. If anyone's present, they can leave their thoughts right now or later on, whatever. But, if Candice Cooley has not seen this before, my prediction will be it wouldn't surprise me. This is my prediction. It wouldn't surprise me if when Candice Cooley reads this, it will annoy her. It will make her more determined in her mindset and what she thinks or believes in. She'll push on with it. And at a cost or side effect of this event, it might prompt her to release more information or more findings, more evidence, right? I mean, there's a certain way it could go, not that it will go, but a very small chance it could go down the line. If it got to a breaking point or it got so bad, there was more to come, let's say, and Candice Cooley got so entwined with this whole conflict with Boxtel County and some other people in the background too, is there a possibility that Candice Cooley could reveal something which could compromise the case down the line, but she didn't mean to, but she got so wrapped up in it all and she couldn't help it? Is that a possibility? I mean, depending the stress levels and everything else going on, you can't blame the person if they did release something if they weren't supposed to. But I guess there might be a certain point where you've got to try and hold back. But I guess the longer the case goes on, as said, not only does it become harder to retrieve or recover Dylan, but it also becomes harder to stay patient as well. And if you're not patient, it could cause an issue within the case, let's say. There could be stress building in the sense of, what about Brenner? It's just like a ticking time bomb in a way. Like his health, his age at the moment, so it needs to be done. Come on, something. The stress of other people out there that may know, like Ty Corbin said, and some others, but not really reaching out or doing much. And it's like, come on, do something. But yeah, I guess we'll just leave it like that for now, okay? Just wanted to share it with you right now because it was very recent, this, and end of the year video, kept tight in. Not literally a New Year's video, because yesterday and the day before were quite wild, but got to try and conserve your energy, right? So yeah, hopefully you found this video somewhat helpful, informative. Leave your thoughts down below if you've got any questions or you want to add on additional points, and feel free to check out the links down below in the pinned comment section after, okay? So that's it for now. Have a good New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, New Year, okay? I'll see you next time. With it being 2023, I'm not going to do 2023 whips. That will kill me. But what I will do is 23 whips on the spot. Okay? Who to? You. I'll do it to myself this time, you know? In my mindset, randomly in the past, I thought, oh, I wonder if I should do a whip for every like £1 or $1 super chat. But then I thought, if that could be exploited, where someone could like send a $500 super chat and then retract it afterwards, and then I've whipped myself 500 times, it could get very exploitive. So I'm not gonna fall for that, okay? Yeah, just imagine if someone did the currency. You know, when you get the currency, some people have been trolled where they've received like 100,000 foreign currency and they thought it meant $100,000, and then they realised and they thought, oh. So yeah, I'm not going to whip myself 100,000 times, but 23 times is more than enough, okay? So we'll do something like 10 on the front, 10 on the back, and then the remainder elsewhere, okay? Oh yeah, 1. Oh yeah, big boy, 2, 3, 4. Oh yeah, come on. 5, 6 on the nipple. 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go. Stinging already. Oh, Weedleby, is that you? Maybe. I can't quite fit my body in, right? I don't want to bend out. I'm not bending over, no. Will that do? Something like that? It'll have to do. Yeah, come on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go, that's 10, 20, done 20, 21, 22, and 1 for you for the new year, 23. So yes, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Good night and goodbye for now.